So alerting, it's here in PMM. It's this little bell that sounds like an alert. But before we do anything here, we need to go to configuration. We need to go to settings. And then within settings, we're going to look at advanced settings here, the second option on the left. And here you will see the option to enable integrated alerting. I already have it enabled, so I don't have to save anything. But by default, this is going to be off. And then you're going to have to do apply changes over here. Once you do that, this little tab is going to show up. Like the first time you load this without integrated alerting, you're not going to have the communication tab. After you integrate it, after you enable, and you do apply changes, you might need to come here again to settings and go to communication tab. This is where you will set up the backend communications. So this is gonna allow us to push out alerts. So for email, very simple, we set up an SMTP server. We said who is pushing the alert, like what is going to be the sender, what authentication type. In my case, I'm using login, my username, well, password, if it requires encryption, and then it will allow me to do, and do a quick test. Okay, I need to enable the email. I already have it elsewhere. I know it's working. I tested it before.
Okay.
Just in case, I might come back here to fix it in the worst case. But this is the simplest mechanism. And of course, if you look closely, it's not asking me for recipients at this time. This was just for testing. So this is just like our SMTP server, right? It's our mail office. So this is not like a fixed recipient thing. So that's one of the nice parts. And then you can set up a Slack. I was trying to set up a communication channel with a Slack, but didn't got to get the approval from IT on time. But basically, you go through a very simple process where in your workspace, you can create a so-called app. And the app can have a webhook. And the webhook is going to give you a URL. And that URL is what you will actually use here.
And you could do other webhook things as well. So if there's other monitoring systems that allow webhooks or you want to integrate, you can do that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think anything that supports webhook, which is a simple post, thing with a fixed structure. Yeah, you could do that as well. Exactly. So I have my email set up. The next thing is going to integrate alerting. And here comes no alerts. My system is working flawlessly, gladly. So it's a bit weird, but I will tell you, start from the right. Start right to left here. The first thing you want to do is actually set up notification channels. We first set up the communication channel, which is how we are going to send notifications. Now we're going to set up notification channels, which is to whom we are going to push those. So if I would like to add one, I will be able to choose, could be PagerDuty, other webhook, or Slack like we configured it before. Again, I'm just going to use email. And I'm going to say P1 alerts, email, P1 alerts, all support. And I will add. I'm not going to do it, but you could add, I don't know, the support team at percona.com. I'm just going to add Matt. Like that, Matt?
You're going to add me? Oh, he's gonna spam me, everyone.
At Percona.com. There you go. And
I don't know why he didn't add himself, but now
okay,
I
can do that.
No. I'm gonna get spammed. I'll take one for the stream.
Yeah, please. And you're gonna join support as well.
Yes.
So now that I have a channel, I will be able to use that channel to deliver alerts. I could also, create another one that is email P2 alerts on duty. Oops. And that will be only Marcos because,
Well, thank you for sparing me those.
yeah. So you're not on duty. I'm sparing you from the duties. Um, so now I have multiple alert channels. I could go ahead and say, let's create a template. So rules are based on so-called templates that allow us to not have to redefine the whole rule again. So it's an abstraction that will allow us to create many rules later. That is basically the gist of it. There are many already built in for Proxy SQL, Postgres, for the node itself, um, for MySQL, MongoDB, uh, and in usually you can just go ahead and come here to alert rules, and you could start adding an alert with one of those. Let's quickly add one of those up. So I'm gonna use MySQL application, MySQL connections in use, MySQL connections in use. So I'm gonna warn when there are more than, I don't know, let's say 30, and if it has to be, this is the threshold for the alert, and so I'm gonna say when there are more than 30 connections in use, and
So,
for
but wait,
how long?
but wait.
Yeah.
So, the threshold, like if you look at it, it says it's a percentage. Is it a percentage?
I will show you that in a minute. That's a bit of a mistake. Let's gonna say. I think we should report some documentation bugs because um, when I create the alert, you're going to see where these are coming from, and you will be able to actually understand why it says percent. It's a Percona limitation, and I will explain where it comes from. Okay, so just 1 minute. I
Okay,
will
I'll hold on. I'm holding on,
please.
everyone. I'm holding on to myself while I wait
Okay,
for Marcos.
so here it says duration in seconds. So what I'm asking is that this threshold must be exceeded for 300 consecutive seconds. Let's just make it 10 for the purpose of demonstrations. And I'm going to say it's a warning. Um, and here I could create filters for my nodes. So basically, in my nodes, I could add, for example, the service name. I'm just going to go with an easy one. But you could make it by cluster, you could make it by node, you could make it by service type, um, by environment. So there
And
are a
and so,
multitude of options.
but so for the filters are not SQL filters. Just so people who are used to SQL, these are not SQL filters. This is
No,
what was that?
this is metrics QL.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
based on metrics QL, which is Victoria Metrics query language, very similar to PromQL. Like if you're familiar with PromQL, you're not going to have any issues getting there. And there is one other thing I'm going to show you, and that is, I think, one of the main things that people get wrong, and it's so easy to get wrong that I got it wrong the first time, so even I got it wrong. So yeah, filters are just allowing us to say this alert is good only for these nodes or this environment or this type of database. Super useful, right? Because I don't want to check if I have mixed MongoDB and MySQL, I don't want to check max connections the same way in. I don't want no. I'm not able to check max connections in MongoDB the same way I check max connections in MySQL. So I will set service type MySQL. So in this case, I'm just going to say I want it for my MarcosDB MySQL database instance. And here we can see the formula. Again, this is PromQL or MetricSQL. And you can see it's comparing with something called threshold. And this is basically what is going to be emailed to us when the alert goes off.
So that's interesting. So looking at the expression, it's
Yes.
taking the last 5 minutes, so the maximum over the last 5 minutes, and then it's dividing by ignoring job.
So this is a single expression, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So ignoring job, give me the max connections.
So it is looking for max connections is looking for the total or the maximum number of connections that were active divided by
the percentage.
So it's making the percentage, which you set it to 30 connections, not 30%. You said
30%.
So.
Yeah. So I got that wrong because I was thinking in my alert. I'm bad. My bad.
So,
it's good that I actually took a look at the template expression because